Watch out. Watch out. Check it out, everybody. That's a nice daily chart on Cardano right now. This just deserves a live stream, mainly because what's happening on the weekly, this weekly candle that's playing out right now. I really just want to break it down. We'll break down the weekly. We'll look at momentum. We'll look at the daily chart. But I really just want to go over some news. So please, if you're out there in the live stream on this Saturday night, please smash the like on the way in. Your support genuinely means a lot to me. It really does. Like those likes, they mean a lot because it means, hey, I'm doing a decent job at least for you creating this content. So please hit the like and let's just jump into the video. And if you're a replay viewer, I just want to let you know, hit the timestamps in case I start rambling, and I'll do my best to put some nice timestamps. Before we even get into really the chart, what a nice chart. 5 green candles, 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say 5 powerful green candles, 6 in general. Above 50 cents right now. We're going to break it all down. For some context here, this was back in April. So I do want to talk about this news a little bit. I didn't put it in the title at all, but I want to just briefly mention this because I think this is big. This is one big narrative right now. This is RFK Jr. back in April during the campaigning when he was still running for president. Crypto guru and Cardano co-founder Charles Hoskinson endorses RFK Jr., saying he's the best person to back this November. And then, as you know, RFK kind of dropped out, moved over to Trump's side, and is very, very heavily in the Trump administration now, making moves, especially when it comes to the Make America Healthy Again movement. And you can just see here, very close to Trump, his right-hand man. Not exactly, right? He's not VP, but he's up there. And then we have this news kind of coming out today. This is Paul over here. Charles dropped this in his live stream. There's been a lot of speculation about Charles being, in some capacity, a crypto advisor within the administration. And it makes sense. There's a ton of people in the crypto space, crypto leaders that would make a lot of sense in the administration advisors. Charles is definitely one of them. Charles dropped this in his live stream. He'll be working with lawmakers and members of the administration around crypto policy in 2025. It's obviously good for Cardano, but very good for crypto overall, I feel. So before we dive into the charts, I want to play this clip, and then we'll really just start kind of integrating this into the price action.
Second, a large part of my time in 2025 will also be devoted to the political process. I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time working with lawmakers in Washington, D.C., and quite a bit of time working with members of the administration to help foster and facilitate with other key leaders in industry the crypto policy. We have to do this and we have to get it done. There's a very high probability that the Republicans will control not only the Senate and the presidency, but also the Congress, the House. And in the process of doing so, this is the best opportunity we have ever had in the history of the industry to get clarity for our industry and remove the sort of Damocles that the SEC has reigned over the Cardano ecosystem, Ripple ecosystem, the Ethereum ecosystem, reigned over Solana, reigned over all the major ecosystems, and actually including Bitcoin in many respects.
So just notice, he's talking about Ripple. He's talking about Solana. He's talking about Bitcoin. That's what I'm talking about, Charles. Thank you. Thank you for that. It's time now. It's time for it all to end. Bring the crypto space together now. There is so much momentum, everybody. With what just happened, with Trump winning now, it's next level. And the Senate and the House, right? This momentum that we have right now, I realize, you start zooming out on Bitcoin charts and the cycles of crypto. There's a lot of talk just from a charting perspective that the cycle is repeating. Things are looking really bullish. But right now, everybody, this moment in time, I just want to say, we've never had things that are going on right now. We knew the Bitcoin ETF, that narrative has been in play. That is such a strong, powerful supply shock to Bitcoin. But what's happening within the US, basically, it's going to be extremely pro-crypto. Now is not the time. You can sit there right now and be like, Dan, you're just too bullish. You're too hype. Just look around at the economy and things like this. You can do that. If you don't want to be bullish, that's fine. But I'm just saying, now is the time to be bullish. If you're not going to be bullish now, at this moment in the cycle, when are you going to be bullish? It just is what it is. You don't have to be massively bullish, but why would you be bearish right now? And there's no guarantees. There's absolutely no guarantees, but why would you be bullish? So wanted to point this out before we dive into the charts. Charles mentioned Bitcoin in that post. Remember this other thing that's been happening for ADA, for Cardano lately. This narrative, Bitcoin OS coming on board. They just retweeted this. This was today, this morning. This post says, people forget that ADA reached $3 without smart contracts, dApps, or scaling, and it's so true. Is Cardano going for the top 2 this time? And then Bitcoin OS says, it also did it without BTC, and that's changing. Everybody, the integrations with Bitcoin right now and Cardano proving itself, a fundamental reason just as a value investor. I know I talk about the Cardano charts, the crypto charts zoomed out. We talk about price action zoomed in. But as you know, integrated on the charts, as a value investor, there's a reason why Cardano is such a powerful play. And it's actually all of these things that I'm talking about in this video. And the timing of these things coming together for Cardano is insane. And so I would absolutely love to see if Charles is, a crypto advisor in the administration, the Bitcoin integration and Cardano proving itself from a technical perspective, really becoming, besides Bitcoin, the most relevant blockchain. Because not really any other blockchains can do what Cardano is going to do for Bitcoin in this trustless way. This is big. These are 2 very big narratives right now on this Saturday evening. But that's what's crazy about this. And this is really why I wanted to do the live stream. It's because these things are coming together at this moment of the cycle. And so let's break down the charts right now and just talk about it. Let's start, before we dive into the daily move that's happening, because there's going to be a lot of volatility. And I just want to say that right now, especially if you're new into crypto. These moves, they can get very exciting. But be very careful, okay? Pace yourself is what I will say. And we'll talk more about the volatility on this daily chart in just a moment. But I want to go back to the weekly and talk about some things. Number 1 is timeline. Many of you might know what I'm going to say, but the other thing will be momentum. I want to look at the momentum oscillators to really get an idea of where we are. As I've been saying, and this is what's exciting for me as a content creator, because here's the top of the bull market. We're entering a bear market for crypto, choosing to stay in crypto. And there's other content creators and people, all of you out there that have been along for the ride. I love y'all, because choosing to stay into crypto when this is almost guaranteed, really, it's another bear market. This is just a perfect illustration of a bear market. And choosing to stay and just doing content through it, waiting for this moment, there's so much hate and negativity and people just doubting, and it's out there. But if you stick to the data, and that's what I've done, we start entering where we are, this moment. And the confluence of all these bullish narratives that are happening, no one could have predicted these things. It's just a very nice cherry on top of what's happening. But let's talk about it. Time frame perspective. Bitcoin halving right here, around 196 days post Bitcoin halving. We're getting this weekly move. That's the move I've been waiting for. If you follow me on X, I did this post back in October, mid-October. ADA was like 56 cents. I said, or 36 cents. And I said 50-cent Cardano end of October. I did $1,000 ADA giveaway if it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But the whole reason I made this post is because I saw this move coming. Because this move is due, right? And I was a little early. And that's kind of what I just posted. I said I was 9 days early. The move was due from a cycle perspective. And I've been tracking the Bitcoin cycles. I've been tracking these cycles on this page. Some of these comments are hilarious too. I've been tracking the cycles on this YouTube channel for quite some time. And so if it was going to happen, it's going to happen soon. And it happened today, 50 cents broken. So 196 days post Bitcoin halving. Last cycle, this technical move that's happening was around 182 days or so post Bitcoin halving. And the move I'm talking about is this weekly break, this 50-week moving average, or the 20-week moving average in green being broken. You can see ADA breaking through it on this weekly. This is the type of move that we're seeing right now. And if you look at the current candle, as of now, it looks more powerful. And I think that's very bullish. And there's more bullishness on the momentum oscillators that we're about to look at. So that bullishness just paints the picture of how much upside is in play for Cardano. Now, I want to mention before we look at that two things. Number one, there's still 21 hours left of the weekly candle. So let's see how the weekly candle closes. This is a very volatile market. Who knows? It could be a very ugly wick. We could close at 43 cents. Let's be mindful of that, especially because I think I mentioned in a previous Cardano video, we have that 50-week moving average boss. I don't know. I think it was Cardano. 50-week moving average is a boss. 20-week moving average is a major boss. 50-week also a boss. So I'd be very curious to see if we can actually close. And you might be like, dude, it's pretty looking pretty good, but you'd be surprised. I really am curious to see if we can close above the 50-week moving average in blue. It's around 46 to 47 cents. So that's one thing that I'm going to be watching in the next less than 24 hours now. So the other thing I do want to mention, and maybe we can dig more into it on the daily, is just kind of the overextension from this area, the 20-week moving average, because there's likely going to be a lot of volatility. Once we get this move away from the 20-week, there's probably going to be a lot of volatility in really the weeks ahead now. In my opinion, and I might be wrong, I'll be happily wrong, it's not just going to be up only. It's not just going to be up only. There's going to be a lot of volatility. Let's look at momentum, and then we're going to cruise over to the daily chart and really just talk about it. It's such a nice looking daily chart. How often do we get these, right? Especially coming out of like a 3-year winter. Momentum. What I want to point out to you is this. The move, first off, on the slower moving momentum oscillator, the RSI, this move of consolidation just above this moving average line, really just nice consolidation, just squeezing. Look at ADA. And these are moments where everybody's just frustrated and they're like, what are you doing? Do something. But that nice moving average escape happening right now is so on point. The thing I want to point out to you, though, on this chart is when ADA was breaking above the 20-week moving average last cycle, almost at this exact moment, and it was November 2020. It was like a week and a half after the elections, right? Something like that. Where are we now? We're not even a week after the elections. It's crazy, the timing of this. But look what the momentum oscillator was doing then, right? So breaking through the 20-week moving average, making its way up to that overbought area. So I just want to point out, we can approach the overbought area, but that does not mean it is the end of a macro move. I just want to point out that likely would mean and be an indicator of it's the beginning of a macro bullish move, right? So that's what happened last time. And then there was this little consolidation, and that's something I want to be mindful of. We'll talk more about it on the daily chart. Notice also the stock RSI, the quicker moving momentum oscillator, just hanging out in that overbought territory for quite some time with little chops. And those little chops on the stock RSI down here, those are big dips on the price charts. And we'll look at that on the daily charts. And then I want to look at this. This is the MACD. So last cycle at this moment, when that weekly 20-week moving average is being broken, look at that MACD crossing above the signal line right there. But that was all happening all the way up here. Point that I want to make is we just got this MACD crossing right here. So this to me says there is so much upside for Cardano, because what we have in play here is this. We have ADA can make just a parabolic move, get all these lines above zero on the histogram, and even consolidate and then go higher. And there can just be so much room for momentum on these oscillators. So this just getting started in terms of ADA momentum. And that's kind of what I wanted to break down on the weekly. Now, if we pivot over and we talk about ADA on the daily chart, here's what we're looking at. It's approaching 52 cents. And I don't know what we'll wake up to tomorrow morning. At least as I do this live stream, ADA is not crashing yet, right? But it's just such a nice move happening from so many different perspectives. We just broke it down on the weekly, but here's what we're looking at on the daily. We talked about in a previous video this false breakout to the downside, busted triangle in play is what we were talking about. And I'd say it played out pretty nice so far, right? Now we're halfway to the target of like 60 to 70 cents up here. So I would anticipate the potential for some type of consolidation. What that looks like, just you never know. But I don't think we're just going to get green candle after green candle after green candle straight to the 60 to 70 cent target. If we do, I will enjoy that with many of you. Now, if we don't, what could that look like? And that's kind of what I want to discuss. And I think it'll be nice once we open up that new weekly candle. Because if you go back and you look at the weekly chart and we go back and we look at last cycle, I just want to point something out to you. And we'll look at this on the daily chart, the choppiness of it. Here's the candle that we're currently within this cycle. But look at this next weekly candle. It ended green. It did end green. But look at that wick. So somewhere in that week, we were wicking all the way back down, briefly below the 20-week moving average. So that was a very big test. So the question I have now is, we escaped the weekly moving average. Are we going to get a move like that in next week, 2 weeks, whatever that is? Right now, that's all the way back down in the 30s. Just something to be mindful of. I don't want to scare anyone or panic anyone, but welcome to crypto. I've been doing these crypto videos for almost 8 years, I think it is. And those moves, they no longer surprise me. So just be very careful and mindful of that. Otherwise, now it's just structure. Whenever we get breakouts like this, we're waiting for the target, 60 to 70 cents, but it's structure at this point. So what kind of structure does ADA give us? And when I'm doing a video like this and we're overextended by, if we take it right from these moving averages, the 50 and the 20, we're overextended by 42%, everybody. My rule is when we get overextended upwards to 20 and 30%, I start looking for throwbacks. They don't always happen immediately. We could keep pumping like crazy, but just in general, that's where I just start raising my eyebrow and saying, you know what? When's it going to chill out? And that's what I'll be waiting for now. When is it going to chill out, and how does it chill out? Is there going to be structure? Meaning, are we getting a big dip? Right? Is that the beginning of structure with a big bounce? And then what's the structure going to look like? Over the years, I've done videos like this, tracking moves like this. And you all know what I'm talking about. Speculating symmetrical triangles, speculating falling wedges. So often we've done this. And now in these bullish environments, we have to do it again. But I wait. I don't sit here and predict. I anticipate. I anticipate throwbacks, and I look for the targets to the upside. So in terms of what happened last cycle, I do want to point this out, and I want to go to the daily just to illustrate it. There's the move, okay? So when ADA was breaking that 20-week moving average last cycle, this is what it looked like. It was a power move. And what's crazy as of right now as I'm doing the video, I will say this is kind of looking a little bit better. Like this looks like it looks better. But let's measure it from this swing low to where we are right now, 57%. Sounds nice. Let's measure this move last cycle to give you some perspective. From that swing low to the swing high, 80 to 90%, everybody. So it looks unimpressive compared to the current move, but it was almost 100% move to the upside back then. Now, notice, and I think I discussed this in a video the other day, we had a crash of like 30 to 40% to these moving averages. And there's the structure that we had last cycle. And I do this not to say this is what's going to happen again. I do this because whether we're looking at a ADA chart, a Solana chart, a Bitcoin chart, when I start looking at overextension from the moving averages and we're in this environment where I'm looking for structure now, I like to just go back and look at, okay, what was the structure like back then, right? And the structure back then was kind of like this kind of ascending triangle. That's the structure that we got in this moment last cycle. Notice how long it took. It took a lot of volatility. We're talking about 30, 40% dips, and it took around 40 days. So the question for you is, we're getting a really nice power move right now. Y'all are enjoying it. I know, because I enjoy it. I like the power moves. But the question is, as we go through this moment, the question is, can you live with 40 days of consolidation and necessary structure? Can you live with out of nowhere we're getting 30, 40% dips? Revisiting the symmetrical triangle, can you live with that? Because those types of environments, I'm not trying to spread any type of negativity, but that's crypto. So anticipate it. Now, what happened next? After that structure last cycle, it continued to the upside. And that's generally what we want to see on these charts, right? It's a nice power move. Momentum oscillators, you can see what it looked like last cycle. Nice power move into overbought, and then just cools down, right? So we go to where we are right now. We look at ADA making a nice power move. We're in overbought. How is it going to come down is the question. And the thing is, everybody, I'm sitting here saying anticipate calming down, cooling down, consolidating. But when we get into crypto bullish environments, and especially when the right narratives hit, sometimes these things just go crazy. And I'm hands off at that moment. I enjoy the ride. I'm not going to sit here and try and call the target where it is. I have my pattern target that I'm just waiting for and watching for. It's like, let's call it 65 cents. I'm hanging out. If ADA wants to make the move right now before getting structure, go for it. If not, I'll live with the consolidation until we get there. And it might not be until December, January, right? I'm patient in this game. So I'm going to just watch it on the short term, but it's nice to see this daily move happening because of what it means on the weekly chart. That break through the 20-week moving average, very important, very crucial for ADA. And just going back to the daily, if I zoom out a bit, I just want to point something out to you. We still have this swing high all the way back here, and this was in March. This is kind of like that breakout out of the bear market before this massive consolidation. That's right around 80 cents. So for me, that's like that next major boss. And there's a lot of space in between now and then. As you can see, we're at 51 cents. We're talking about 80 cents. But that's the next major boss of macro resistance is the 80 cent area. Getting above this previous swing high on this chart will be very crucial for ADA. So that's what I'll be watching for if ADA continues this bullish move in the midterm. Now, if we just go and look at the weekly, again, 21 hours left, almost 22 hours left of the weekly candle. I'll be watching to see how it ends. And also notice, right below that 80 cent area is the 200-week moving average at 75 cents. So that 75 to 80 cents is a massive area of macro resistance. For ADA, you know, I have the Bitcoin bull market doors and all my Bitcoin analysis. I really would say 75 cent to 80 cents is a really nice area to watch for ADA to explode through. That could be ADA's bull market doors, because if ADA's making a move through that area, we could really be approaching with quite velocity the dollar area. To give you another perspective on this market in general, not just ADA, if we take our bars pattern and we take from the 20-week moving average move that we're kind of getting right now at this moment of the cycle to the bull market high, I just want to show you something. And we just bring it over here. I'm not saying this is how it's going to play out. First, you can visualize it. You can create a plan around it, but you can visualize it differently. But just note how long from the 20-week moving average, this is what I want to point out, to the all-time high, 287 days, not even a year. So for me, and I did it like a YouTube short earlier. I just posted it not long ago, actually. I was just kind of like, man, what's the plan? We're all different. We're all different. There's also no guarantees we get the move. But what is the plan, everybody? What's your plan? What's your plans if we don't get the move and we fall? What's your plans if the bull market plays out? And crypto is, in my view, and I've been doing this for quite some time now, this is like the most bullish that I've like ever been on crypto. Do you see what is happening with crypto right now? Like the fact that the headline, and I don't know if Charles is going to make it and be the crypto advisor and the administration. I don't know how this is going to play out. We track it, we watch. The fact that this is the headline, and this is a very, very real possibility, this is something that last cycle would have been like, yeah, right, okay, Dan. Like, imagine last cycle, we had all of this bullishness happening right now, not just for Cardano, but we have our first Bitcoin president who's been selling NFTs. He's like an advisor in his own crypto project, Trump. And we have him just being so pro Bitcoin, wanting to have a US Bitcoin reserve. We have Charles Hoskinson potentially in play to be an advisor in the administration. Like, if you would have told me this stuff back here, I would have been like, okay, like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But do you realize that's where we are right now? This is what's happening. It's just, that's very bullish for this very early stage market. If I need to remind you, the total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, currently at $693 billion. Do you realize right now, with everything that is going on, we are still 61% away from all-time high last cycle. And last cycle, we didn't have any of this. Like, almost exactly like what this post is saying. People forget that ADA reached $3 without smart contract steps or scaling. Well, people forget that crypto reached around $1 trillion market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, without all of the bullishness that we have going on. So I'm just bullish. That's all. If you're bullish right now in the chat, make sure you just smash the like button right now for me. Let me see the thumbs up. My screen, I get like a thumbs up, a yellow thumbs up every time, like when people are smashing a like. So it's like, let me see it go crazy because I'm bullish. Charles is confirmed advisor. Is that new news, or is that from basically his live stream tonight? Was he kind of just alluding to that he's like from the clip that I showed, or is this something else? Did other news come out? What's the deal? What's the deal? I know we're in a very fast moving environment. Let's go bananas. Everybody's so bullish. Everybody's so bullish. I'm bullish too. So that's my Cardano live stream. I'll put the timestamps. Y'all enjoy. If you're a replay viewer, I appreciate you. If you're in the live stream, I really appreciate you. And if you're not a subscriber, smash the subscribe. Turn notifications on, because we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to have some fun with ADA charts. We're going to have some fun with dog charts. Dog's about to have its time. We're going to have some fun with Bitcoin charts and crypto news and all of that good stuff, talking about altcoin season. So I appreciate everybody just cruising through. I really do. And you have a nice Saturday night and a nice Sunday tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Remember, the volatility is so in play right now on these charts. So be very careful in this moment, and we'll continue tracking it. Appreciate you. Have a good rest of your weekend, and God bless.